In this video, we're going to discuss how to do the topic sentences for your rebuttal paragraphs in an argument rebuttal essay. And sometimes these are called the refutation paragraphs, so refutation or rebuttal. So this is going to be a little different from the topic sentence structure for all the other kinds of essays, because in this one, the topic sentence will not be the first sentence. Instead, the first sentence or two will be establishing, explaining what the other side's point is. And then after we've done that, we'll come in with a topic sentence which says why the other side's point is wrong. So first of all, you're going to preface the topic sentence by first presenting one of the other side's points. So you want to use equivocal language to signal that you're presenting one of the other side's points and that it's not your point. So you could say, supporters of, and then say what the other side point is, would have us believe. You could say, proponents of the other side's point try to argue that. Those who support the other side's point claim that. And of course, you'd fill in here with what the point is that you're going to then be rebutting. So you're picking a specific argument that the other side is making here, and you're sort of explaining, here's what that point is. So, of course, one thing is you've got to know what the points or arguments of the other side are, and each of them will get its own paragraph. So, therefore, the topic sentence is going to specifically hone in on, or this preface to the topic sentence will specifically hone in on one of the other side's points. And this kind of language here is very good at making it clear that you're presenting the other side's point, not yours. Because if people think it's your point, they'll get confused. Then ideally, you want to provide a name and a quote from someone who makes this point. Now, it's not always possible to do that, but if you do have a person or even an organization that you can quote as an example of that point, that's really great, because then that will show the reader that you are accurately presenting that point, and no one will think you're kind of slanting it because you're just literally quoting what the other side is saying. So that might be a second sentence here, right? The first one would sort of present one of the other side's points, then you might get a quote and a name of someone who represents that. But you want to limit this section to about 1 to 3 sentences, no longer, because you've got to get to your topic sentence here. So this is the part here where we're just sort of setting up the other side's points. And one of the ways to think about this is like bowling. You've got to set up the pins before you can knock them down. So that's what we're doing here. We're setting up one of the other side's points. Then once we've done that, we get to the true topic sentence where you state within a single sentence why the other side's point is wrong, right? And you're going to, support that later in the paragraph, but you need to kind of boil it down and say, okay, here is the reason why that is wrong. And you want to begin that with a contrast. You've really got to show that you're turning to rebut. So we're looking for something like, however, unfortunately, the only problem with this argument is some kind of contrast, and you can use others, that shows that we're doing the but, right? Here's what the other side says, but here's why they're wrong. And then you give your reason that you're going to say why it's wrong. And that could be they don't have evidence, or they're misinterpreting the evidence, or they're not considering other evidence, or something's wrong with their logic, or it's just an unethical position. And you want to be specific in presenting that reason so that the reader can really understand it. All right, let's take a look at some good and bad examples. And I'm using the same topic and thesis as I used in the previous video on argument paragraphs. Should the federal government provide free college? And the thesis was arguing no. And in the argument section of their essay, they would have gone through all of these reasons, and now, having finished going through all of them, they're turning to rebut. So I'd like you to pause the video and read each topic sentence, or really I should say each kind of paragraph opening, because some of these are more than one, and see if you think it's providing a good setup and topic sentence for a rebuttal paragraph. And then we'll come back and talk about it. Okay, A is not a good opening for a rebuttal paragraph. First of all, I picked it because it kind of amuses me. I've had some people who will just say, I rebut that. That's not how you use the word. I mean, you really don't use the word rebuttal, ironically, in a rebuttal paragraph. That's just how you kind of describe it. Plus, the main thing here is they're not setting up the other side. They're just saying, I'm against free college. Well, that's your stance, right? You've already made that clear, hopefully by now, in the thesis and throughout. So, that doesn't tell me anything about what is one of the other side's points and why is it wrong. A rebuttal is, you're no longer arguing for your side. You're just saying why the other side's wrong. So you need to say why the people who are for free college are wrong. And this just says that you're against it. So this is not setting up a rebuttal. B, free college is not the solution to all of our problems. Well, that is also not a good one, because that does not set up a specific reason that the other side has, and it doesn't give a reason why their reason is wrong, right? It's just sort of kind of a general statement, again, that I'm against free college. All right, let's look at C. C is kind of a mediocre, okay one. It's not great, but it's sort of passable. So it starts by saying, those who advocate free government-funded college would have us believe that it would increase job opportunities for everyone. Okay, so that's good in the sense that it makes it clear that it's the other side's point, those who advocate this and would have us believe. And it says what their point is, right? That would increase job opportunities. So that part is fine. But their topic sentence is a little bit vague, just saying, well, this is not true. Okay, why is it not true? Plus, they didn't really have a quote or a person representing the other side in between that first and second sentence, which would have been ideal. All right, so it's just sort of mediocre. It's not terrible, certainly better than A and B, but not ideal. All right, let's look at D. So D is the best one, because D does a nice job of, first of all, setting up the other side's point, right? Supporters of free government-funded college claim that it would improve job prospects for all citizens. So, like C, it does a nice job of saying, here is one of the other side's points, and it makes it clear through saying supporters of that point and claim that, it makes it clear that it's not your position or reason, it's the other side's. And then it goes on to give a quote and a name for someone making that point, right? For example, Senator James Bennett asserts, and then it gives a quote that is all about how free college would improve job prospects. So that's really a nice example to follow up your setup of the other side with a person and a quote that represents that specific point. And then we get the topic sentence, which is here, and it's a nice specific topic sentence. Because rather than just saying this is not true, it actually gives the reason why it's not true. This is not a logical claim, mainly because even if everyone did have a college education, there aren't enough high-paying professional jobs to go around for every person in the country, right? So it's identifying a logical flaw with the argument there. So to me, that's a much more impressive topic sentence than just saying, well, this is wrong or not true, right? I mean, that's certainly better than nothing, but this is a really good example of that. The last ones here are very confusing because it doesn't set up the first sentence as one of the other side's points. So it sounds like it's the writer saying that free government-provided college would improve job opportunities. And that's very confusing because it sounds like the writer who just wrote in the thesis that the government shouldn't provide free college is now saying that it would do this great thing. So it makes people think that you've changed sides, which is terrible. And then it just says, however, it wouldn't, right? We're trying to sort of get into the rebuttal. So that this shows you the importance of signaling language, right? Supporters of claim, or those who advocate would have us believe. It's important to do that so people don't get confused and think that you've changed sides. F, same thing here. There's no signaling language there. Free college would help everyone get a better job. So again, it sounds like you've changed sides to that. And then it just gives kind of a reason for that side. And what's happening here, I think, is that this person believes their job in a rebuttal is to just explain what the other side's view is. And this is actually one of the most surprising things to me in all of my teaching of writing, is that people think a rebuttal means that you take a whole paragraph and use it just to make the other side's case. No, you do not do that, right? You are always making your case. So you don't want to just present what the other side says. You're saying why it's wrong, right? And the only reason you even talk about the other side's point, like here or here, is in order to knock it down right away. So, your explanation of what the other side's point is should be like 3 sentences max, and then you get into the rebuttal. All right. So the good example here is D, right? That's the best one. C is sort of a okay example. But if you're looking for a good model for how to do the opening and topic sentence for a rebuttal paragraph, you can look here at D.